on the football show.
And we get them on telly as well, that we can actually watch.
I can't get ITV.
Unlucky, mate. I was watching ITV4 on other channels the other night.
Easier to illegally stream, though, given that it'll be on ITV.
Not that you encourage that kind of behaviour, of course.
Well, no. I'll be in here when it's on. So, I will be able to see it then. 2 El Clásicos. The second leg of the Copa del Rey is tomorrow, and then the weekend they go at it again in the league. Gareth Bale can't seem to get in the team at the moment. He came on as a substitute in their win on Sunday, a 2-1 win. He scored the penalty, and then his teammates tried to celebrate with him, and he brushed them off.
Right.
As if to say, no. You're all in the paper talking about how I don't go for dinner with you. I can't even get my game here anymore. I'm not going to celebrate with you. So, I don't know what Gareth Bale's future holds. 53106, the text number. We're at Off the Ball on Twitter. We have the Star's chief sports writer, Kieran Cunningham, here as well. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
So, take your pick. You have Brendan Rodgers, you have the Irish rugby team, you have Congress once again.
Congress.
So many things to discuss.
Yeah, we'll start maybe Brendan Rodgers to start with, but yeah, Celtic fans, I would say they're not impressed because they're obsessed with getting this
treble,
and the 10 in a row to pull ahead of Rangers who did 9, but I can see both sides on this. I think it's fair to say. Like, he went there. I don't think he went there to win trophies. I think he went there to rehabilitate his career and for European football, particularly Champions League football. And they've been an unmitigated disaster in Europe.
Yeah.
He has won every single final he's contested. And if you look in the 2.5 years, I think it's 7 finals. And if you look at the couple of years before that, like Ross County were winning finals, Aberdeen were winning, like 4 or 5 different clubs were winning trophies. So, you know, that you can't dismiss what he's done there.
No.
Like it's I think if you look at the jobs, I think, you know, the timing is very strange because we're nearly into March. There's only a couple of months left this season. Like, why not see it out and win another
Leicester
treble?
have said to him, it's now or never. But
yeah, but that's the thing. I think he's thinking as well, right, this opportunity might be there for him in the summer, and will I get a club as big as Leicester? And people might say, Leicester, but he's not going to get a top 6 club. And outside of those, Leicester's up there with any. Like, last year, Leicester were the 14th wealthiest club in the world. Leicester building a training complex is going to cost 100 million. It's up there with any club anywhere, apparently. There's a lot of money behind Leicester. They're very ambitious. This season alone, they've beaten Manchester City, they've beaten Chelsea. They're very unlucky not to beat Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah.
And there's potential there. They won the league just a couple of years ago. And I think he's just had enough of Scotland. And you look at the purse strings, like Dermot Desmond is the owner there, and he's never invested heavily in the squad. Like, they broke their transfer record last summer, and they did Edward O'Stone, and the fee wasn't made public, but it was supposed to be 8 million sterling. And that's, you know, Leicester would spend that on a second string left back. And their record before that went back to 2000, 2001 when they signed Hartson and Chris Sutton for 6 million. So Celtic is operating at a level that is just miles off the Premier League. And all the best managers in the world, virtually, are in the Premier League now. That's where all managers want to go.
Yeah, no, they're all very fair points. So, Brendan Rodgers, Richie, you're starting your news round with Rodgers. He's been speaking to the club.
He has, yeah. As we know, Brendan Rodgers confirmed as Leicester's new manager this evening, the Antrim man signing a contract until 2022 at the King Power Stadium. And his former Liverpool defender, Kolo Touré, has been named as part of his backroom team. Speaking on Leicester's website, Rodgers says, I was certainly in no hurry to leave Celtic, but when the opportunity came to talk to Leicester and I was able to analyse it, it allowed me to think that I'd probably achieved and taken Celtic maybe as far as I could at this moment. And he had this brief witness relocation statement on Leicester's social media accounts as well this evening.
I'm delighted to be named manager of this fantastic football club. At Leicester City, the foundations are in place for us to grow and achieve many things. Hopefully, with my experiences and the talent of the players in our squad, we can be successful together. See you all soon.
Why would you get him to read an auto cue like that?
Because he's
a smart enough man to just say a few non-offensive words.
There is a separate interview where he's sitting down, that we don't have access to because you need to sign up to their bloody website. But he's just sitting down there in conversation with whoever happens to be conducting the interview, instead of going, I am delighted to be here. My captors are treating me well. They have given me cheese on 2 occasions.
He's holding up a copy of today's newspaper to prove he's alive. Meanwhile,
I think maybe he's learned from being Liverpool that everything should be everything should be scripted from now on.
Yeah.
When Brendan goes off script, it doesn't work.
If there's
really.
not a being Leicester, I think we'll all be disappointed. So Damien Duff.
Yeah, with Rodgers leaving, former manager Neil Lennon is to be installed as Celtic's interim manager until the end of the season, with John Kennedy and Damien Duff part of his immediate
This is the
backroom
future
team.
Ireland. This is after Stephen Kenny. This will be Neil Lennon and Damien Duff dream team, will it?
No.
It's going to happen.
I mean, if you think Martin O'Neill's lax on doing prep work on the training ground, Neil Lennon.
Oh, really? This inside track from Virgin Media?
No.
Talking out of
Lads,
school.
why would you want to steep yourself in the nastiness that surrounds the old firm? Also, haggis is offensively salty and the locals call potatoes tatties. That's just offensive enough to any Irishman, and I'm sure Rodgers had enough.
But that's actually interesting, because if you go, like, Neil Lennon go back in here, given all the stuff about Steve Clark and the sectarian abuse last week, and what Lennon has put up over the years, you'd wonder why he would want to go back into that, what could be pretty toxic.
He has to enjoy it, to some degree.
Well, to say enjoyed, go through a few things. There's been 3 different court cases in Scotland over people who've abused and sent death threats to Neil Lennon's social media. He was driving his daughter and her friend to Glasgow Airport once, and the car was forced off the road by some nutter who spotted it was Neil Lennon. There was effigies of him burnt. He's been attacked at different times, and you think, for his own sake and for his family's sake, you think, get out of Scotland, because, like, that tatty thing, man mentions there in a jokey way, that goes back, that's kind of at the root of a lot of West anti-Irish racism in the west of Scotland. That the tatty hokers came originally from Donegal and Mayo. And there's a great book about...
The tatty what, sorry?
Tatty hokers, they were called.
Hokers?
Which they used to harvest potatoes and these massive farms in the west of Scotland. But it was close to slave labour. Like, they lived in these labour camps. They were paid virtually nothing. They were looked down on. These were the people who eventually... Most of them were from Donegal and Mayo, and most of them eventually settled in, like, the Gorbals, like the infamous slums in Glasgow. And... those are the people that ended up founding Celtic Football Club and Hibs, Hibernian in Edinburgh. And there's a great book called Children of the Dead End by Patrick McGill, a poet from Donegal. The McGill Summer School is named after him.
Yes, yeah.
But there's a guy, Kieran Brady, who played for Ireland under-21s in the early 90s. He was a fantastic player, but his career was ended early through a blood injury. But he was from Glasgow. But he was very much involved in kick racism out of football, and he left it because they wouldn't take the abuse of players with Irish links in Scotland seriously, particularly when James McCarthy, people forget the abuse James McCarthy got when he declared for Ireland. He was getting it at every single away ground, sectarian abuse, and he was only 16 playing first team football. He was getting that when he was 16 and 17. So I think Neil Lennon going back into that, and Neil Lennon has all this history built up over it. Like, he's the bête noir to Rangers fans above anybody.
Oh, he's a complete lightning rod.
He's a red rag to a bull.
Yeah, he's a lightning rod.
He's got games against Hibs and Hearts pretty much in the immediate future when he gets reappointed here, and it's been confirmed by Celtic as well that he's back on board.
Neil Lennon going back to Glasgow is like a squaddy wanting to be sent back to Afghanistan. You hate the constant fear, but you miss it when it's gone. I speak from a position of zero experience being a baker in Cork, says Mark. Text of the night one early on this evening.
Can we get some free stuff off Mark?
Mark?
Cakes? I take cakes.
Can you send up some free cakes to the Off the Ball offices?
Please and thanks.
Please.
Yeah.
No taties, just cakes.
Taties, that's what he said. I never knew that taties thing. I've seen that a few times lately. That came up recently.
Tatties and neeps, Joe.
Tatties came up somewhere.
Tatties or tatties. Yeah.
Neeps and tatties.
Where did that come up recently?
What's your rugby friend? Your real friends?
The favourite. Mary Queen of Scots.
Can't remember. It definitely came up somewhere in a very real way. And I was thinking, oh, that's interesting. Never heard that before. Okay. It'll come back to me anyway. We are on the air. So let's move on. There's live Premier League this evening.
Yeah. Rodgers is going to be in attendance, of course, for Leicester's Premier League game with Brighton at the King Power. It's a very strong Leicester side tonight. Michael, Chilwell, Maguire, Evans and Pereira back four. Demarai Gray, Barnes, Maddison and indeed in midfield, Yuri Tielemans backing Jamie Vardy. Lewis Dunk is partnered, of course, by Shane Duffy in the back four for Brighton tonight. Elsewhere in the Premier League, out of form, Everton travel to Cardiff. Seamus Coleman does start for Everton tonight at the Cardiff City Stadium. Bottom side Huddersfield play host to Wolves, for whom Matt Doherty starts tonight as well. Huddersfield, one of only two sides, or one of their two victories, this year came against Wolves. And Newcastle, they entertain Burnley. Burnley starting with Jeff Hendrick in their midfield. There's an 8 o'clock start to that one and 7:45 for the rest of them. Republic of Ireland manager Mick McCarthy has been dealt a blow ahead of the Euro 2020 qualifiers. Southampton striker Michael Obafemi has been ruled out for the rest of the season with a recurrence of a hamstring injury. The 18-year-old had only returned from the same injury on Saturday, but lasted just 20 minutes of their 2-0 defeat to Arsenal. Ireland have 4 qualifiers between now and mid-June, starting with games against Gibraltar and Georgia next month. And Saints manager Ralph Hasenhüttl says Obafemi's injury is both a massive blow for the player and the club.
At first, you have to say we have a big problem because an 18-year, 19-year-old young striker is not part of our team, and we really have a problem. So it's not about putting pressure because he was now not on. We have more options with strikers we have, and it's the worst thing is for himself, because another big injury in this age, where you want to play, where you want to get experience, where you want to make the next step in your development, doesn't help him a lot for the future. That means it's really a big problem for his career of playing professional football, and that's what I'm discussing more in a moment, or what I think about more in a moment. We find the solutions to have other options, but for him it's a disaster.
Meanwhile, Johnny Sexton.
Yeah, he concedes he thought Ireland were past learning lessons through adversity. The out-half was speaking to OTB AM in an interview that will be broadcast in full via our social media channels tomorrow morning. Speaking with our own Owen Sheehan, Sexton says the Ireland side are being taught a harsh reality at the moment.
When you say there's things that go through your head the night of a game when you're kind of playing the game over and over in your head, has there been a certain thing that's been in your head for the last 3 games? Is there a particular theme that you've been thinking about in the aftermath of a game?
No, they would have all been different. That's the hard thing at the moment, is it seems to be different things each week that have against Italy it was just some basic errors. Against Scotland there was some sort of things in our shape that we weren't happy with, in terms of our, for example, just keeping our width in our attack. We just got narrow at times, and so there's just been little things in each game, and suddenly we fixed the one after Scotland, but then we're making basic errors against Italy. So look, there's no one as frustrated as us, as players and the coaches, and we want to set the world alight every time we go out and play, and it just hasn't happened so far. But like I said, I think it'll be a great thing for us coming into what's a huge next 10 months. Really, it's going to be massive, and as much as we don't want to learn these lessons, it's good for us to learn them at this stage. We thought we were at a stage where we didn't need to learn lessons through adversity. We thought we could do it while winning, but sometimes you need a harsh sort of reality, and we're getting that at the moment.
Yeah, full interview broadcast tomorrow. Johnny Sexton always very thoughtful and interesting. Very striking comments from Joe Schmidt on the back pages of a lot of papers this morning, where he said that I think the players are a little bit broken. Broken was the word he used by the fallout from the England game. Suddenly starting to question themselves. The group need to be re-energised. That's our job, to reignite the confidence, he said. But it was a very arresting kind of headline, the players broken by the England fallout. It can happen to a team when they're on a stupendously good run, that the shock of an emphatic defeat especially does leave us a bit of scar tissue.
It does, yeah, and it's funny, like one of Joe's predecessors, Eddie O'Sullivan, has mentioned this the last couple of days as well, that he says it's all rooted in the England game. He says that has really rocked them back on their heels. And he would have had similar experience, it's very easy, he was saying, to park, people say, we just park the Six Nations and move on to the World Cup. But he says it's not that simple, because the warm-up games are just for trying out a few different things, and they're nothing. They're not going to really help. Like, you're going to be straight back into it, and there does seem to be a bit of a doubt and uncertainty there. And I think we talked about this just off air there. No, have you read, there's been a lot of books written about the 2007, written by players who played in the 2007 World Cup. Well, nobody's really explained what happened. I don't think anybody who was there actually knows why it went so badly wrong. And I have a feeling this is the same thing is happening now, that inside that camp, they don't know what's going wrong. They're trying to figure this out on the hoof now. And they're lucky now they have an extra week till the France game, because they're really going to need it. I would have thought they would have been pretty confident of blowing Italy away. And I think that's, they're starting to doubt themselves again because they didn't, because it was tricky for them.
Yeah. So 2 weeks' time, France in Dublin on the Sunday, and then they go to Cardiff the following day. Schmidt mentioned at the very outset of this tournament that you can't win a World Cup in the Six Nations, but you can lose momentum. And I kind of, it stuck in my head a little bit, but I didn't think too much of it. A lot of comments like that are made.
Yeah.
And now suddenly here we are a few weeks later.
But the other thing is, I know we always bring up the strength and depth, and they clearly have more strength and depth than going into the last World Cup.
Yeah.
But if you're going into your World Cup quarterfinal, more than likely against South Africa, who the hell knows what team will be in the pitch?
Totally.
Like, I remember Donald Lennon wrote a piece a few months ago at the start of the Pro 14, and he just uses an example. Ulster were playing, I think, Scarlets. Ulster were without 12 players through injury, Scarlets without 13. And that was for the very first game of the season.
Yeah.
So,
I honestly am at the point of just thinking you just need a huge amount of luck with injuries in the World Cup.
Absolutely.
All this planning for strength and depth and everything else, like, you can still just be obliterated. Like, I mean, who would have thought 4 weeks ago Quinn Roux was going to have played 2 matches?
Yeah, that's it. And even go back, I know it's 10 years ago now, but when Ireland won the Grand Slam in 2009, they didn't have a single injury.
Well, last year they didn't either.
Yeah.
Last year was basically a straight run. Well, there was an issue with the centres, and Bundyaki was the constant, but a centre kept coming back just in time.
Yeah.
Like, is there a team in the world where if you stripped away their 3 or 4 best players, even England without Vunipola and Itoje, are not what they were?
Yeah.
So there's no team going into this World Cup who have enough strength and depth to say, well, whatever injuries hit us, we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Every single team going into this World Cup is touching wood and doing everything else they can and praying that injuries don't hit them. Ireland are they are no more immune to injuries than they were 4 years ago, even though the strength and depth is better. Because, I don't know, it seems like the thing is more attritional than ever. They could lose.
Yeah.
They lost four second rows.
Yeah. Well, like, just take one, for example. Say if Conor Murray isn't fit to start the quarterfinal, so you start whoever your second choice scrum half at the time, as if it's John Cooney or something. But the way things are, he probably won't be in the field for the last 15 minutes. So you're down to, say, your third choice scrum half or fourth choice scrum half for the last 15, 20 minutes of a World Cup quarter-final. Like, that's the way rugby is. So that's why it's impossible to predict. How could anybody say now what's going to happen? Nobody knows.
No. And Schmidt actually made that point as well today. It's like, this is not part of some big plan. Like, I don't have a crystal ball here. Where are we going next, Richie?
Manchester City facing an investigation into allegations of a payment made to Jadon Sancho's agent when the forward was just 14. Leaked documents published by Der Spiegel claim City tried to conceal the payment by making Sancho's agent, Emeka Obasi, a scout for the club. Sancho is now, of course, at Borussia Dortmund, but City could still find themselves in bother over the payment. The club were already at the centre of Football League's claims that they massaged their books to avoid financial fair play regulations. Things no better on the injury front for City, who'll be without both Aymeric Laporte and Fernandinho until the end of next month, after both were injured in their Carabao Cup final win. Laporte sustained a groin injury at Wembley, while Fernandinho picked up a hamstring strain. Both John Stones and Gabriel Jesus both missed Sunday's penalty shootout win over Chelsea, and both will remain out of action for tomorrow night's visit of West Ham to the Etihad. But Guardiola won't use his growing absentee list as a reason to excuse drop points.
And I don't want to see excuses from my players about the tiredness or about the schedules or the fixtures or how many the games. That is nothing. When you have the illusion, to the fight until the end, to retain the title, it's the power to the energy to give you that is higher than anything excuses you can find. So we are tired, as it's your problem, my men. You have to run tomorrow like we are and win and beat them. And after that, beat them again. And when you are in the last 2 months of the season, the mentality makes the difference. And I want to see my players this. The people say, no, without this player, the other one. It doesn't matter. We have a depth squad, we have a good players enough, a second team too, and you wanna. I want to see tomorrow the desire if really we want to win this title. I want to see it.
Chris Keenan in touch. He's quoted me wrongly, but anyway, we won't let that get in the way of things. Neil Lennon on the training ground makes Martin O'Neill look like Pep Guardiola, supposedly, according to Molloy Joe. I never mentioned Pep Guardiola. With absolutely zero evidence offered. Chris, I have it on good authority. I'm not going to divulge the source because they wouldn't want to be divulged, but I have it on good authority that he's fairly of the Martin O'Neill school on the training ground level.
He beat Barcelona, though.
It gets results as well, like it does.
I think they did it with something like 16% possession or something. It was like, I think Inter beat Barcelona was similar under Mourinho. It was under the lowest percentage totals ever to win a big game.
There are a huge number of managers out there working, a lot of them reasonably successfully, like Lennon, like O'Neill, right back to Clough. I guess that's where they're coming from ultimately, who don't go into anything approaching forensic detail on the training ground and still manage to just create a bit of a vibe and get some results.
Yeah, because the flip side is Rodgers, because from all I've heard of Rodgers, he's a really good coach.
Yeah, but the opposite.
Yeah, but he like at Liverpool, he was in conflict with Michael Edwards, who's the guy in charge of transfers, who's since become clear, since Klopp has come in, is a genius in targeting talent.
Yeah.
But Klopp didn't trust him, and Klopp went with Rodgers wanted two punts on like Ricky Lambert and Balotelli and stuff like. But the Sturridge and Coutinho were Michael Edwards signings, and Rodgers wanted to get rid of Jordan Henderson and bring in Clint Dempsey. His judgment on players could be a bit suspect, I think.
Yeah, every manager has a weakness, don't
they?
Yeah. No, very few are all things. Where are we going next?
Chelsea manager Maurizio Sarri says goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga is not guaranteed to start tomorrow night's game with Tottenham, and it follows his refusal, of course, to be substituted in that Carabao Cup final. The Spaniard has apologised to his teammates and the coaching staff and was given a club-imposed fine of a week's wages. And Sarri says it is overall a difficult decision.
Okay, I spoke with the goalkeeper, with Kepa, of course. Then we spoke all together because he said sorry to the technical staff, but was not enough. And then he said sorry to the teammates, to the club. And so I think that he made a big mistake, but we need to be tolerant. We don't want to kill him. So there is a position from the club.
Poor old Maurizio. It's not shaping up too nicely for him.
No.
He's walking into a job in Roma next year. I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah.
This is his 19th club, isn't it? So he'll be club number 20 next season. I think he's toast.
Yeah, it seems that way. Now, this week we've teamed up with Coca-Cola, the official soft drink partner of the Premier League. They're celebrating their Be the 12th campaign by rewarding supporters with giveaways this season, including match tickets and branded merchandise. Keep an eye out for special Coca-Cola packs for the promotion. All this week, we're giving you the chance to win tickets to the Premier League match of your choice next season. Terms and conditions apply. All you have to do is identify tonight's mystery voice, who was as surprised as anyone at how the David Brady versus Guidor Twitter feud spiralled out of control.
What started with, a bit of fun turned into anarchy, really. It was absolute carnage.
Text your name and answer. 53106, 30 cents. We'll announce a winner later on in the show, all with thanks to Coca-Cola's Be the 12th campaign. Let the lesson be, Kieran, don't mess with those Guidor folk.
No, I knew that from a very young age. The saying, Donegal, when you cross the Guidor Bridge, no, actually, I can't complete this.
You're not saying
I'm going to get into trouble.
I'm going to Google it right now.
I'll tell you in a minute. I'll tell you off.
What went wrong with the 07 squad? David Brady is what went wrong with the 07 squad. We found out last night.
We're taking a short break. We're back with Paul McGinley, Rory McIlroy, trending very much in the right direction, it seems.
Off the ball on News Talk. Down to business.
Our brand new roadshow, Your Town, Your Main Street, comes to the Garden of Ireland when we broadcast from Wicklow Town in the historic surroundings of Wicklow Jail on Saturday the 2nd of March. The show features a panel of experts who will give the town a health check, and I'll also chat to local businesses, big and small, about what Wicklow Town has to offer and what it doesn't. There'll be some County Wicklow celebrities, live music, and of course, a few surprises along the way. The event is free, but you do need a ticket, so simply go to newstalk.com/events to register.
Your Town, Your Main Street.
On Down to Business.
In Wicklow Town, proudly brought to you by IE Domain Registry on Saturday the 2nd of March.
On News Talk.
See you there.
Future-proof your business communications with Newacom. Newacom's advanced cloud phone system gives you features such as auto-attendant, GDPR-compliant call recording with cloud storage, integrations with CRMs such as Salesforce, HubSpot, and many more. Use your business landline numbers on the go with our mobile app and remote worker feature, to name but a few. To find out what Newacom cloud phone system can do for you, go to newacom.ie. Newacom. Connecting you to the future.
You think just because I'm pregnant, I'm not up to it? You don't know me. I've got motivation like you wouldn't believe. There is no way I'm going to let my baby grow up in a world like this. I've seen what it's like and I know where it's headed. That's why we're getting out of here, racing our way free. And you better not get in our way.
Curfew, a Sky